What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Cannonballs podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Dane Cannon. Co-hosting with me today is...
Your boy, Jake Mother Ever Mose, and I'm 1, 2.
And guys, we made it. We are officially to the last game of the NFL 2022-2023 season. We made it to the Super Bowl. We got the AFC representatives, the Kansas City Chiefs, going against the Philadelphia Eagles, the NFC representatives. Should be a good game. I am a little bit curious once we dive into this, especially dealing with like some of the injuries, mostly on the Kansas City side. But we'll get into that, guys. So if you guys would give us a like, comment, subscribe, follow us on our Instagram at Cannonballs with a Z_podcast. Jake does a good job getting some reels out there. We got some bonus content on there. Just help us out a little bit. We'd appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Jake,
I haven't done reels. Yeah, I haven't done reels in like a long time. Just been really busy with school and work and, recording and other activities that I like to do. So I was definitely more active in the reel game earlier this year, but, life happens. But, yeah, I mean, just because it's the end of the season doesn't mean we're going to stop recording. We're going to record less, but, we're going to try to get at least one episode a week out to you guys, especially, Dane loves draft season, and I do too. I'm not as knowledgeable with some of the players. I really just pay attention to, like, big-name players and, Notre Dame players, but, it's going to be fun diving down into that. So be on the lookout for that, guys. Also, it is Super Bowl week. I wanted to, do a little dive into award predictions because they do announce, the MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, all that, right before the Super Bowl. So, yes, with that said, I guess we can get into award predictions, Dane.
You want to do award predictions first?
Yeah, I mean, let's just do it, and then we can break down the Super Bowl last.
All right, sounds good to me. So you want to start with the MVP first?
Let's leave that one last. I usually announce that one last. I'm just looking. I forget all. I mean, I have an idea. I just want to make sure I have all of the awards.
So I got MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Comeback Player, Coach of the Year, Assistant Coach of the Year, Offensive Rookie, Defensive Rookie. Is there anything else? I don't think there's anything else, right?
Assistant Coach of the Year. Nobody really cares about that. I mean,
to be honest, I don't even know that many assistant coaches. I'm going to be honest. So I don't even know if I would be able to give like a good breakdown of that, honestly.
Yeah, I know 49ers 49ers coaches, but other teams I wouldn't even know where to begin. I guess we can start with the assistant coach. I mean, I'm looking at NFL.com, and the predictions they have are, surprise, surprise. Two of the top teams are number 1 and 2. We got DeMeco Ryans, the new head coach of the Houston Texans. Again, congratulations, DeMeco. 49er fans will miss you. Well-earned head coach hiring. And number 2, we have Shane Steichen. He's the Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator. Yeah. And then number 3, we got Ben Johnson.
Former Chargers.
Ben Johnson is?
No. I was just saying Shane Steichen used to be on the staff of the Los Angeles Chargers. But yeah, Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator to the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, he definitely upgraded his life. And then number 3, we got Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. And, I don't have much to say. I mean, if I had to give it to somebody, I guess I would go DeMeco, just because I have a feeling. Oh no, I don't know. I feel like Nick Sirianni is ahead of Kyle Shanahan in the coaching awards. So Yeah, I don't really know what to say. But those are your three. Three. You got any input on that, Dane? Those are your three award finalists.
Honestly, I like all of these coordinators. I think Ben Johnson did an amazing job with the Detroit Lions. And honestly, I kind of view him a little bit higher than the other two because of the pieces he had to work with. Not saying that like Detroit didn't have a stacked team, but like you're comparing like the 49ers and Eagles, two of the teams that made it to the NFC Championship game. One of them's going to the Super Bowl. And then you have the Detroit Lions, who have been one of the worst teams cumulatively over the last decade of an NFL franchise. And then they had a really good season. Their offense looked really good. They were scoring like 30 points on average, I think. I don't even know what it was, but they were a high scoring offense. And they did that with, you know, Jared Goff, who's not a great quarterback, but he's not a bad quarterback. He's an average quarterback. You know, he's good. He can make big plays, big time moments, but then he also crumbles under pressure sometimes. So I think what he was able to do was very impressive. I love DeMeco Ryans because obviously the 49ers had the number one defense in the entire NFL. Shane Steichen, I like the Philadelphia Eagles offense, but I think I'm going to take Shane out mostly because F him for leaving the Chargers and going to the Eagles. Just kidding. But I mean, if you look at the pieces that Shane Steichen had to work with, he has a loaded freaking roster to play with. So I love the Eagles offense. I think they did a great job marrying the pass and the run game. I think Jalen Hurts had an MVP season. He probably helped with that. You know, the run game looked great. AJ Brown looked great. I think that they had a great offense, but if it was going to come down to two for me personally, it would be Ben Johnson and DeMeco Ryans, just because I feel like they were more of a game changer, because I think Philadelphia was more of the reason why, or the Philadelphia Eagles defense was like comparable to the offense. But I feel like the Lions offense was obviously better than the defense. And I think that the 49ers defense was a little bit better than the offense. So I would consider these coordinators better at their job than the opposite end of the spectrum, or their counterparts on the same team. But that's where my head's at right now. What are you thinking?
I really don't have. I mean, obviously, I want DeMeco to get it. I think, you know, anybody who's getting head coaching jobs from for being a defensive coordinator definitely should be looked at. I just kind of hate the argument of he had more to work with. I mean, are we punishing coaches now for, you know, building up their teams or acquiring people? Me personally, I hate that argument. I don't know. It just bugs me. I feel like people should be rewarded for just getting or acquiring a stacked roster and, you know, having the number one defense or having the number one offense. You know, I almost feel like, well, they did pretty good for, you know, not having that much people. I mean, yeah, you did good, but I mean, did you have a top 5 offense or did you have a top 5 defense? I don't know. I feel like we should reward, you know, teams for building good rosters. But, you know, I'm going to go with,
how much of that was DeMeco Ryans building the defense and how much of that was draft and like using what he had?
Well, the thing is, DeMeco Ryans has been with the 49ers for multiple years. He didn't just come there. He's been I get that. And I don't know. I think he just inherited a good team, a good defense, and, you know, he still has to, you know, call the right plays, has to, you know, call the right blitzes and all that stuff. So, I mean, he could be an idiot and call blitzes every play and just get torched. I don't know.
No, I think DeMeco Ryans is a great. Like I said, I took him and Ben Johnson as my top 2. Like I got rid of Shane Steichen. Yeah. I love what he did with the defense. It was number 1 for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole reason, I know you hate the argument, but the reason I bring it up is maybe the Lions offense wasn't top 5. I mean, we could look at their EPA per play, whatever the hell it is, but it's like that offense was legit. And the reason I bring up that argument of less to work with, because it makes it seem like you did a better job coaching, in my opinion. You can disagree with me all you want, and I respect that. But if you can coach worse players to play at a high premium level, I think that looks better on the coach instead of having elite players make your system look good. I think it goes hand in hand. I think he's an a great coordinator. That's why he got a head coaching job. He's a great coordinator. He was a good player. So it's like, I'm not trying to take anything away with him. I'm just more personally impressed with Ben Johnson from my point of view.
I wasn't trying to say you're bringing anything away. I just, it wasn't even your opinion either. It was just like, I've heard that narrative like for years now, like, oh, more to work with, blah, blah, blah. And I guess that kind of brings us into this next award, the top NFL coach and the head coach award. And the top coaches, we got Nick Sirianni, Kyle Shanahan, Brian Dable, Doug Peterson, and Sean McDermott. And, looking on Twitter, looking on social medias, everyone wants to say Brian Dable or Doug Peterson had this one in the bag. And because they did a lot more with a lot less. But, all these other teams made it further in the playoffs than these teams. Yeah.
I was just going to say my counter argument just for Brian Dable is because he did it in his first year taking the team to playoffs. It's hard. And so did Doug Peterson. I mean, Doug Peterson was an NFL head coach before, but Brian Dable had never been a head coach. At least to my knowledge, he had never been a head coach. And he went to the Giants, who hadn't been since 2015, 16? Like it had been a good amount of time. They don't have necessarily their last however many seasons have been really subpar, like under 500. He comes in 1 year and then leads them to the playoffs, and they won a playoff game. So that would be my counter argument for both of them, because I mean they both won a playoff game, and the Jacksonville Jaguars had been one of the worst teams. They had 2 first-round, the number 1 overall draft picks 2 years in a row, and then Peterson comes in and then leads them to the playoffs and beats the Chargers. Minus, I think the Chargers are just a cursed franchise and shot themselves in the foot because they suck. Fucking Chargers. But still, that was a good win. Like that had a lot to do with coaching, like halftime adjustments.
Oh,
but
for
I
sure.
do see what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, and it's also because like I feel like Kyle Shanahan should have gotten this award like 2019 when he led that team. As a 49ers fan, you saw it kind of coming. We didn't think Super Bowl, but, we saw the build and the growth. But, nobody else saw the 49ers making it to the Super Bowl in 2019. And, I think I'm a little salty because, like, I feel like he should have won it, the Coach of the Year back then, and he didn't. And now it's like, well, he's put together this awesome team. 3 out of the 4 years made it to the NFC Championship. And he's probably not going to get it. So that one it just rubs me the wrong way. You can make a case for all 5 of these head coaches winning it. My prediction, though, I got honestly, I got Brian Dable or Doug Peterson, and personally, I say Doug Peterson because, I mean, they actually look legit in playoffs. Like the Giants, they beat a bad Vikings team and they got manhandled by the Eagles. But the Jaguars, they came back, sorry to bring it up again. They came back, beat the Chargers, who I still think is a pretty decent team. They just have bad luck, man, and they don't know how to finish games. And they were right in the thick of things with the Kansas City Chiefs. So, yeah, my vote's for Doug Peterson, personally.
So I think that's the way that it probably will go, is between those. If I was going to vote, though, I would actually give it to your boy Shanahan. And here's why. You take a team to the NFC playoffs championship game on your third string quarterback, and he looked good. And you know that the system definitely benefited him. He coached him well. He got him in the right mindset. Like, a lot of that is coaching. And they had a lot of adversity to overcome, like losing Trey Lance first game of the year? And then
second game
of the year. And then, Jimmy G gets injured after a couple more games, and then Purdy has to finish the last 8 or however many games it was. So doing that is awesome. So I think he should win it personally, just because of the adversity that he had to overcome. So that's where my vote would go. But I do think it's going to be Dable or Peterson. That's
where my vote would go too. But I don't know. I don't know if the NFL doesn't like Shanahan or whatever. But yeah, we'll see. Comeback player of the year. This one's pretty hard. But we got 1, 2, and 3 in this order: Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, and Geno Smith.
Yeah.
And this might sound mean. Get Geno Smith off this list. And here's my reasoning. What is he coming back from? This is his first good year in however long he has had in the NFL. Coming back from what? Riding the bench? If anything, he should be, if there was an award for it, breakout player of the year, for sure. He had a phenomenal season. He probably deserves to get paid. And all the congratulations to Geno. I actually am a Geno Smith fan, even though he's a Seahawk. But he, comeback player of the year is usually made for players who get hurt, right. Devastating injuries, and come back and just ball out like Saquon and Christian McCaffrey. And I personally think, there's 3 49ers that I'm voting for, but I'm voting for Christian McCaffrey, dude. He came in off 2 seasons, or he barely played the last 2 years, came in and just changed this offense, this 49ers offense, turned them into legit contenders along with other things. But I mean, it could be a toss up, but my vote's for Christian. I mean, it could go either way because both these running backs, kind of written off. Both had terrible injuries, but I don't know, man. I think Christian did way more for the 49ers. So that's what I'm voting for.
Yeah, this one's tough, but I'm going to go Saquon. I think here's the reason why. Mostly because I feel like everyone was writing Saquon off. I feel like everyone considered him a bust after a good rookie season, but then just couldn't do anything. Had a ACL tear, looked crappy the next year, dealt with injuries again, and then came back. Everyone knew how great Christian McCaffrey was. And I'm not saying that is necessarily the end-all, be-all, because like you said, comeback player of the year usually involves an injury. You come back from it, which Christian McCaffrey has. Like, everyone knew how good he was. I just think that people knew the talent that he had and how great he was. So, yeah, I think he was going to thrive in Shanahan's scheme. I don't know, man. I just like the story for Saquon right now. I just felt bad for the guy. And so maybe I'm leaning more towards my heart because I feel like I want him to win it just because of the adversity that the press, the media, a lot of outside influences had on the guy, writing him off like, oh, he's a bust, he's injury prone, all that stuff. And that can be said about Christian McCaffrey too. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I'm going to go Saquon. That's just my vote.
Yeah. I mean, all 3 of these guys, I mean, even Geno, I mean, I still think it's designed for someone who gets hurt, not someone who just breaks out and has his first good season. Again, I'm not trying to talk shit about Geno, but this is his first good. This is his best year in his entire tenure as a professional. So, but all 3 of these guys could win it. Defensive Rookie of the Year. This one is a little hard. Well, actually, probably not. I mean, we got Sauce Gardner, Aiden Hutchinson, and Tariq Woolen.
I don't give a fuck about this one too much. I'm sorry. If it's not Sauce, trust me, I love what Aiden Hutchinson did and Tariq Woolen, especially because Tariq Woolen wasn't even a first-round pick. He was taken later in the draft. But Sauce literally looked like an elite cornerback his rookie year. That's my vote. That's all I got to say. Yeah, Sauce was locked down.
The only thing is, I would say is I think Tariq Woolen had better numbers because people were trying him, whereas nobody was really trying Sauce Gardner. It was kind of like when, whatchamacallit, what's his name? Darrelle Revis, when he was on the Jets. That was Revis Island, baby. And everybody knew that if he's on that side of the ball or on that side of the field, you're not throwing it over there. So his numbers would look terrible, but it's because he shuts people down.
Calvin Johnson, who literally had 3 cornerbacks lined up on him for some games, you know you're a good cornerback. I don't get stats in this category. I'm sorry, but you just know when a cornerback is locked, shut down.
Yeah, when you can cut off half of the field, you are the defensive rookie of the year. So yeah, I'm giving it to Sauce as well. Although these other two just played lights out. So
yeah, I'm not trying to take that away from them. I think they're great players, but there's just an upper echelon that you have to reach, and I think Sauce reached there his rookie year.
All right, this one might have a little controversy, Dane.
Offensive rookie of the
rookie. Yep, offensive rookie of the year. We got Garrett Wilson, Kenneth Walker, and my boy, Brock.
Big Cock Brock.
Big Cock Brock. All right. This one's hard. I honestly say that. I mean that. This is hard. I know people who are picking this or voting for this are like awake at night because, you know, Kenneth Walker and who was the first one? Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson.
They were balled out all year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
All I was going to say is about Garrett Wilson. He was playing with some shit quarterback play, and he still put up great numbers. He looked really, really good. But I think, unfortunately, for Offensive Rookie of the Year, it's more designed for a quarterback to win. I just feel like it's more that way. I think you can have, like, positional players like running backs, wide receivers. I just think what Brock Purdy did also is just phenomenal. You're a third-string quarterback. You're not expected to even play this season. You're Mr. Irrelevant. And then you come back and take the team to the NFC Championship game and didn't lose a single game until the NFC Championship game. That's impressive. And you played some good teams. So, like, I got to go Brock Purdy on this because it's like you literally are in command of the offense. You are the reason why this offense was scoring. I do give credit to the coaching as well, but like Brock Purdy literally led this team and threw great passes. He made good reads. He made good decisions, escapability. There were a couple missed throws, but he's a rookie. He fucking wasn't even expected to play. And then he put up great numbers. I mean, his QBR was insane, especially for the last pick of the NFL draft before everyone went undrafted. So I got to give it to Brock. Like, I hate to keep the trend of the quarterback going, but I mean, what he did was just far and above anything that a running back and wide receiver did, unfortunately.
I think personally, I don't think it was good. I mean, there was no rookie quarterbacks who shined this year. I mean, enough to, you know, outshine Kenneth Walker and Garrett Wilson. I mean, the only real quarterback or rookie quarterback that started multiple games was Kenny Pickett, right? There was no other rookie quarterbacks. I mean,
Malik
Ritter
Willis
got in a little bit,
a couple games. Yeah, Malik Willis, Desmond Ritter went in a couple games, and then what's his name from North Carolina? Sam Howell from the Commanders got to play one game, the last game of the season. So
I mean, this would have probably been the first year. Books are falling down. Sorry about that. This probably would have been the first.
House is haunted.
This probably would have been the first year. You know, a non-rookie or a non-quarterback would have gotten this award, I would say. But you know, Brock Purdy just comes in. The story, what he did for the team. I think the voters like that, and I think he takes it. I think he deserves it too. I mean, you know, I think personally, if Brock Purdy wasn't on here, I would have given it to Kenneth Walker. He did miss a couple games. I just like Kenneth Walker, even though he's a Seahawk.
I love Kenneth Walker. I still would have given it to Garrett Wilson because there was a lull in Kenneth Walker's play for a number of games. Like, he started off extremely hot as soon as Rashad Penny got injured, but there were a couple games where it was like, where did he go? Like, is it the scheme? Is like someone figuring out this offense, or is Kenneth Walker just not performing up to expectations? But then he finished the season strong. Like, Kenneth Walker looked amazing. I loved him as a running back. He was my number one running back coming out of college. for last year's draft. But I think Garrett Wilson's consistency, his escapability, his routes, his hands, I would have picked Garrett Wilson over him personally.
Right on. All right. So now we're at Defensive Player of the Year. On this list, we got Nick Bosa, Micah Parsons, Chris Jones, and honestly, I think they kind of, snubbed this player a little bit. But Hassan Reddick of the Eagles, he didn't get enough credit, and he was balling out. He was only one sack behind Bosa. But as far as this 3 list, I think it's not even close, to be honest. Because
that's where
it was close it was close for a little bit, but Micah Parsons kind of slowed down a little bit. Like he had a couple games where he didn't record a sack.
I think he was dealing with an injury as well. Mm-hmm. So I mean that kind of slows down your stats and all that stuff and your play.
Yeah. So I mean I'm going for Nick Bosa. He deserves it. Yeah. Personally, like I love Nick Bosa, don't get me wrong. It wasn't I think this is kind of the weakest Defensive Player of the Year list. Or I'm trying to say, like, usually, like, I mean, you look at TJ Watt when he was Defensive Player of the Year, or Aaron Donald, like, or Stephon Gilmore, or there's another quarterback who won it recently. But like you knew right away they were getting it. Like there is kind of maybe it's just closer. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. Maybe it's a little closer than we like to think, but I don't know. I would
like there wasn't a player that like won by a landslide. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. I mean, Bosa had like a lot more sacks compared to Parsons towards the end of the year, but I mean, I still think Micah Parsons is a wrecking ball. Nick Bosa is a wrecking ball. I don't know. This one's. I mean, it's not hard. Like they're going to give it to Nick Bosa. If they don't, I will be shocked. But I would have liked him to get 20 sacks. He is a game wrecker. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Nick Bosa, not only is he just a sack machine, I mean, he's great in the run game too. Like he is everything that I wish Joey Bosa was. Like he is just built to play edge. He is just built to be a game changer. And you see that day in, day out, every game that he's played, like there's not at least a play where there's a change. And like strip sacks, fumble recoveries, batted passes, everything. Like he's the whole 9 yards. It's not just one thing that he's good at. So it's not just sacks, run game, sacks, tip passes. Didn't he have an interception this year also?
He caused a couple of interceptions. He didn't have an interception this year. Oh, sorry about that.
He had an interception this year. Anyway,
he had one his rookie year.
Yeah, that's true. I am going Nick Bosa. I think overall what he did was far and above what Chris Jones did. I think Chris Jones is also an elite player by all means. Like he's a great run defender. Also, he was a game changer. But I just feel like the positional value of defensive tackle or nose tackle, from what he did, I mean, like Aaron Donald style, but I don't think he was at the same level as Aaron Donald, but he was great. I just think Nick Bosa was a greater.
Yeah. Yeah. And finally, folks, we have 2 more. Sorry about that. Offensive Player of the Year. We got Justin Jefferson at 1, Tyreek Hill at 2, Patrick Mahomes at 3, and Jalen Hurts at 4. And, if Jalen Hurts didn't get hurt towards the end of the season, I would have to give this to Jalen Hurts. I don't know. I kind of feel weird giving it, or I kind of feel weird that Justin Jefferson is at the top of this list. I know he balled out. I'm not saying he didn't, but I feel like, I don't know. I feel like Jalen Hurts just completely took over games. Justin Jefferson is elite. Don't get me wrong. Like he's probably one of the best wide receivers. He is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. I don't know. What do you think? Like, I mean, I hate to give it to another quarterback, but I guess I'll be fine with it because the MVP is usually a quarterback award. So I'm fine with Justin Jefferson getting it. But I don't know. What do you think?
It's tough, man, because if Jalen Hurts never would have gotten injured, I think he would have won MVP. I mean, we'll get into that in a sec. But
I
for
agree.
offensive player of the year, you have to think about dual threat as well. Like, he wasn't just a good passer this year. He was great with his legs, reading plays, diagnosing. You know, he was really good. Really, really good. Justin Jefferson is top 3 wide receivers, in my opinion. Tyreek Hill is also on this list. I think he's great. I think quarterback play kind of limited him a little bit. But, you know, he still did a lot with what he was given. But I'm not necessarily considering what Tyreek Hill did better than Justin Jefferson. So I would put Justin Jefferson over Tyreek Hill personally. But there were a couple games when Justin Jefferson actually got shut down this year, which makes it a little bit harder. So I think that Justin Jefferson is going to win this award, but I personally would go Jalen Hurts, mostly because of the fact of what he did to change this offense. Like, it made it very difficult to game plan for the Philadelphia Eagles this year, mostly because you don't know with the RPO action, like, is he going to run it? Is he going to pass it? What's the run game going to be like? You have to account for so much with Jalen Hurts, whereas Justin Jefferson, some lockdown corners were able to get the upper hand on him this year. But, I mean, he's still top 3 wide receiver in my book. I mean, Justin Jefferson can completely take over a game. I think he had a game of 180 yards this year, almost, or maybe he had over 200, I think.
One game
I think
he had a 200-yarder this year.
Yeah, which is absolutely insane. So I think Justin Jefferson is going to win it. I personally would go Jalen Hurts, though.
I personally would go Jalen Hurts too, but I think whoever votes or whoever, you know, is the deciding factor in giving these awards, I feel like they know that the MVP is a quarterback award, and if they give the offensive player of the year to a quarterback too, you know, fans probably won't like it, or, you know, just trying to throw in a little bit of diversity in there, I would say. So I think just for that reason alone, they're going to give it to Justin Jefferson. And not saying he's not deserving of it. It's just I think that's what their mindset is going to be going into the choosing of this award. But as you said, most valuable player, or as you stated earlier, most valuable player, we got Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, and Justin Jefferson at number 5. I do think Patrick Mahomes takes this award.
I think
like I said, I think you said it too. Jalen Hurts, if he didn't get hurt, I think this would have been his award to lose. Damn. And it's probably better for him because, you know, the person to win the MVP has not won the Super Bowl in, I don't know, I think it's like 20 years or something like that. So, I don't know, maybe they'll switch it around and give it to Jalen Hurts.
I mean, didn't Mahomes break the Madden curse with, like, being on the cover and winning a Super Bowl?
Yeah, but that's not the MVP.
No, I know, but, like, what if Mahomes wins MVP and then wins the Super Bowl?
Hey, he would be the one to do it. He would be the one to do it, honestly.
Breaking all the curses.
Yeah. I mean, you guys can look it up. Like, the last 15 players to win MVP, they've gone to the Super Bowl, but they have not won it. And, or they haven't made it to the Super Bowl. Either one. So, you know... Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm going to give it to Patrick Mahomes. I personally think Jalen Hurts was better this year, though, to be honest. He was way more dominant. Like, he was dominant. Like, that entire team was just dominant. I mean, you could see it in the playoffs. Nobody really matched them. I mean, the 49ers, in my opinion, are the second best team in the NFL, and it wasn't even close. You know, granted, you know, they're playing their fourth string quarterback, but the Eagles just... They were a good,
they played no quarterback.
Yeah, they are a great team.
Yeah, so. I think Patrick Mahomes takes this. I think Joe Burrow should be in the conversation. Unfortunately, I think Josh Allen, I think he was the front runner for like 6 games. And then something happened where it just kind of slowed down. And after seeing that, like, there were a lot more interceptions, weren't as many touchdown passes, so it kind of slowed down for him. He was still getting it done on his legs, but that's not an MVP caliber quarterback, in my opinion. So that kind of took him out of the race for me. Joe Burrow, I mean, Joey Ice, man, he's a dog. Like, he deserves to be in this conversation. I just think that he didn't do nearly as much as Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. I think that Joe Burrow, elite quarterback. I think he's in the same category as Patrick Mahomes. I think he's at that echelon now. But I think that Patrick Mahomes made magic happen with a lot of injuries. And granted, if we're talking about the AFC Championship game, I think a lot of flags and penalties assisted them. But I mean, you had like 3 key injuries. I mean, you lost, what was it, McCole Hardman, Juju, Kadarius Toney, I think all in the same game. So it's like, and then you still can make it happen. So that just rallies the team behind you. That's an MVP in my book. So that's why I'm going to give it to Patrick Mahomes. As much as I hate the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes is just the best quarterback in my opinion. So
yeah, we have our new age Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. It's really looking like that. And then, you got your boy Justin Herbert over there looking like Phillip Rivers. It's literally playing out like that. Like,
okay.
I'm not saying he's bad like Phillip Rivers.
No. You can say that the Chargers are looking like how it did with Phillip Rivers. Justin Herbert does not look like the same type of quarterback that's going to play out that way.
Okay, I'm not saying. I'm just saying right now. Like, look back at when Tom Brady and Peyton Manning every year fighting in the AFC Championship. Where's Phillip Rivers? You know what I'm saying? That's what it's just looking like right now. I'm not saying it's going to be like that. I mean, this is just Herbert's first year in the playoffs. Don't get all butthurt, Dane. Careful, Dane. Dane's about to break down.
No, I'm
talk shit about Justin Herbert.
I'm about to blow a gasket.
Yeah, so no, I mean, these freaking quarterbacks, man, they're just so good. No, I agree with everything you said. Joe Burrow is, becoming one of my favorite quarterbacks. I mean, I don't know why. I kind of like you. I don't know what it is about Joe Burrow, but like maybe he doesn't get enough, I don't know, attention. I feel like he doesn't get enough attention. Patrick Mahomes got the commercials. He's got the MVPs. He's got the Super Bowl already. Joe Burrow's been to a Super Bowl, but I don't know. I just feel like he hasn't gotten enough attention, and he deserves it because he's balling out. He's had a couple games this year. I think he wish he could take back, or the entire team could wish he could take back. But yeah, I got Patrick Mahomes winning this. So yeah, there's our award predictions, folks.
And speaking of Patrick Mahomes, let's get into the Super Bowl. So we have the Kansas City Chiefs playing the Philadelphia Eagles. I do want to kind of address this really quick. Kansas City is dealing with some injury concerns right now. I'm looking at the Kansas City Chiefs injuries. They had McCole Hardman, Juju, L'Jarius Sneed, and Kadarius Toney all did not practice Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Hardman's doubtful. Juju, L'Jarius Sneed, and Kadarius Toney are all questionable. Willie Gay is also questionable. But then you have Trey Smith, Pacheco, Patrick Mahomes, Jerick McKinnon, and Justin Watson. They all were full practice, so that's good. This is going to be tough going against this Eagles defense with key injuries to the wide receiver core. So Patrick Mahomes is also playing on a gimped ankle. I don't know how well he's going to be recovered. But if we think back to the 2020 season when he was playing with a busted ankle, Tampa Bay's defense just rattled the shit out of him. And he still looked great, but the defense just obliterated the Kansas City Chiefs. So I hope that it's not like an exact reenactment of that Super Bowl. I hope that it's at least closer. But it is a concern, in my opinion, dealing with that. And then you also had Travis Kelce, who was dealing with some injuries, but, he played and looked fine, so I'm sure he's good. And then on the Philadelphia Eagles side of the things, I think you had Landon Dickerson, Lane Johnson, Cam Jurgens. Let me look this up. And then Robert Quinn and Avonte Maddox did not practice, but I think it's all rest. I think they're fine.
You're missing one important miss. I don't know. It's not really an injury. This player is just not going to play.
Okay, so I was wrong, Jake. He wasn't an offensive starter.
Oh.
You're talking about Sills, right? The offensive lineman? Okay, yeah. So I was mistaken, Jake. I thought it was someone different, and then I looked it up. So it was the rookie lineman, Josh Sills. He was charged with rape and all that stuff. So that is a bummer that's a bad look for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, that's just a dumb move on Josh Sill's part. Unfortunately, he made bad choices in life. But yeah, he only started one game this year. I was thinking it was a different lineman. So excuse me for misinforming you earlier in the week. But yeah, so if it was a starting lineman, that would have been a much different story. I thought it was somewhat different.
I think Chris Jones would have ate, missing a whole starting guard. Man, it would have been a Chris Jones field day. Yeah, so like you said, Chiefs definitely dealing with injuries. I think the Eagles are favored in this game. Chiefs are underdogs. Matchup predictor on ESPN, it's got a 50-50, but let's see, they're 1.5 point favorites. So yeah, I mean, I expect that the Eagles have just dominated all year long. They've looked like the best team pretty much all year long. I mean, where do we start? Where do you want to break this game down?
Let's start with the quarterbacks. I think it's kind of interesting because both of them are somewhat dealing with an injury. Mahomes with his ankle and then Hurts with his shoulder. So both of them aren't necessarily playing in their peak prime performance. They're both hobbled to a certain degree. I think Mahomes has the advantage for me slightly because of his passing ability. But then Jalen Hurts also has an advantage because he can escape and use his legs. And I think that's what's going to come down to it. And I think the Eagles have a better defense, in my opinion, than the Chiefs do. But the Chiefs know how to come and play in big moments.
I will say this. If the Chiefs take a page out of the 49ers playbook, it could be trouble for the Eagles. Because, I mean, not that Jalen Hurts looked bad in the NFC Championship, but he didn't look, like MVP caliber Jalen Hurts. He looked okay, but he didn't look. He wasn't running all over the play, all over the field. He didn't rush for 100 yards. I mean, he still threw for a couple, but I mean that's football. You're going to throw for a couple. So I think the Chiefs need to take a page out of the 49ers playbook and contain him. Yeah, no. So who'd you give the advantage to? You gave the advantage to Eagles?
So I didn't really say who I gave like a definitive advantage to. I gave both of them an advantage in a different regard, one for passing, one for the legs. I'm going to go Patrick Mahomes is who I give the advantage to just because he's been elite for so long and I trust what he can do with the ball more. But if we're like looking at the offensive whole, I would give this to the Eagles offensively as a whole because the Eagles offensive line is studly. Like they made it
3 All-Pros.
Yeah, like it's
That's insane.
Legit. They're not dealing with as many injuries. Their wide receiver core looks good. Their running back core looks good. I would say honestly, the only advantage that the Chiefs offense has, other than Patrick Mahomes, is Travis Kelce. And Dallas Goedert is a good tight end too. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's not by much, but Travis Kelce is definitely next tier for a tight end for me. But I think it's closer than people would give Dallas Goedert credit for. So honestly, I think the Eagles offense takes this as a whole just because of the surrounding cast around Jalen Hurts personally.
Yeah, I mean, as a whole, I'm giving a slight edge to the Eagles. But, I mean, as far as injuries, like, I think they'll manage. Like, they've done fine. They've figured out ways to score. They kind of have, like, these weird players all over the place, like Kadarius Toney and then, Sky Moore or Juju just, like, popping Christian up out of
Watson.
Nowhere. Yeah, Christian Watson.
Not Christian Watson.
His last name's Watson.
Yeah, Justin Watson.
Justin Watson. So, like, they figure out ways to produce. And, I don't think the Chiefs offensive line is decent. You're not as good as the Eagles, but they're still a decent offensive line. They have themselves a running back with Isaiah Pacheco. He runs really, really hard. And, of course, they have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. So, it's going to be a fun matchup. This is going to be, we've been saying it for, this is going to be a test for the Eagles. This is going to be a test for the Eagles. I think this is really going to be a test for Eagles. If Patrick Mahomes is if he's 85%, it's still going to be a test for the Eagles. I'm sure he'll be fine. He played in that game and he played through it. He limped a little bit, but he still played through it. This is going to be a good test for the Eagles defense. Yeah, man. I think the Chiefs' biggest X factor, though, Andy Reid, and Andy Reid playing the Eagles, the team that fired him because he couldn't win a Super Bowl for them. Holy shit! If that is not an X factor, I don't know what is. I know every player on the Chiefs is looking at each other and saying, "We're underdogs, really." We're underdogs with Patrick Mahomes. They're underdogs, but barely. Like, I honestly believe that. This has the potential to be an excellent Super Bowl matchup. I mean, I wasn't excited for it last week, but the more I'm thinking about it now, I'm actually getting giddy thinking about it because, one, we're going to hang out. We haven't watched a Super Bowl together ever. Two, I think this is going to be a great, great game. That's if Patrick Mahomes is healthy. If he can, move around the pocket, scramble when he needs to. He's still got that giant arm of his. And, the Chiefs wide receivers and tight ends are going to have to step up. So, but yeah, I think my biggest X factor for the Chiefs for this game is
Andy Reid.
It's the Andy Reid Bowl, man. Like
that it is.
Like how satisfying would that be to beat the team that you play for, or he had to coach for them for like 15 plus years.
I don't know the duration. It was a long ass time though.
Yeah.
It was a long time that he coached for them for sure.
I'm gonna have to look it up. You say something, but yeah.
While you're looking that up, I'm gonna switch things over to the defensive side of things. I'm going to give this one to the Eagles. I think the Eagles defense as a whole takes this one personally. I think it's mostly the defensive front for the Eagles. I mean, other than Chris Jones, the Chiefs don't have too terribly much on the defensive line. They're dealing with some rookies and I think that they're playing pretty well. But I mean, fuck, man, the Eagles defensive line is they're stout, man. Like they're tough. And the Chiefs have a good offensive line, but that the Eagles defense is going to put pressure on Mahomes. They're definitely going to get pressure. I love Kaiser White. That's my boy from the Chargers. He's having a great season as one of their linebackers. I'm rooting for him. So I would love to see him get a ring. But yeah, man, I got to give it to the Eagles defense, man. I'm just going to give it to them. And I think because of that defensive line. That defensive line's going to eat. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, the Eagles, I mean, I don't know I don't know off the top of my head. Real quick, before I talk, Andy Reid coached the Eagles for 14 seasons.
Damn, 1999 just right there.
Yeah, so that's huge, man. But, back to the defensive line. When's the last time you heard of a defensive line as the starting defensive line getting double-digit sacks? Each starter.
Each starter, yeah. I can't tell you.
That's insane. You're lucky if you get 2 starters with double-digit sacks. 4? That's crazy, dude. Like I said earlier, I think Hassan Reddick was kind of snubbed a little bit and not even being talked about Defensive Player of the Year. He had himself an excellent year. Fletcher Cox has been there for a while. Brandon Graham is just a savage. And who's is it Sweat? What's his name? Jonathan Sweat? Is that it?
Oh, man. You said Brandon Graham. Is it Robert Quinn? No.
Robert. Did they trade for him? I forgot about that. Oh, my. Dude. I completely forgot about that trade. Oh my goodness.
Is that who it is?
Let's see. We got Robert Quinn. We got
Hassan Reddick, Josh Sweat, Javon Hargrave, that's who it is. Fletcher Cox,
Jordan Davis.
I think
Linval Joseph. Oh, and they got Ndamukong Suh. Some veteran presence.
Yeah, and they got a good rotation. Why the fuck did I say Robert Quinn?
Hey, real quick, kind of not off topic, but what happened to Nakobe Dean? Is he playing at all? I don't watch a lot of Eagles games, so I don't pay attention closely.
I haven't paid attention to the linebacker room other than Kaiser White, just because he was an ex-Charger and got traded this last year. I know that he had the pectoral tear during last season. I'm not entirely sure because I just remember every analyst talking about him during the draft and like, why is he falling? Why is he falling? And then it came out that he had an injury. I haven't been paying attention to see if he's been playing at all. I wouldn't be surprised if he hasn't played this year.
Okay.
But you can roast me because I just don't know that much about Nakobe Dean. Sorry.
Like we care. No, but I do give the advantage to the Eagles defense. But like I stated earlier, it's playing out like Patrick Mahomes is going to be the next Tom Brady. He's probably the best. No, he is the best quarterback in the NFL. Gifted, leadership-wise.
Whatever he's played this year, by the way.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, this is going to be a test for the Eagles too. I said it earlier. This is going to be a big test for the Eagles. If they can shut down Patrick Mahomes, they're legit. I think they can, but I also think Patrick Mahomes is going to be able to make some plays off of them and keep them in this game. So, yeah, but definitely advantage Eagles. They have the number 1 pass defense. They have a top 10 run defense. I think they have the 3rd overall defense. So it's gonna be a fun matchup, man.
It's gonna be a good Super Bowl. So now that we've kind of broken it down a little bit, who you picking? Who's your Super Bowl pick to win the 2022-2023 NFL Super Bowl?
My head is saying the Eagles.
Right.
But my heart, my heart's conflicted because, I'm not a big fan of the Chiefs. They beat 49ers in the Super Bowl. They're kind of just getting annoying, always talking about Patrick Mahomes, blah, blah, blah. But the Eagles just beat the 49ers, and, Eagles fans are hella annoying. So there's that. I'm going Chiefs. I think they win.
Okay.
I think this is a, how do I say this? I think this is an iconic Patrick Mahomes game. When all the odds are against you, when you're playing seemingly an unstoppable team, I think this is when people like Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes shine, and Patrick Mahomes is the sole reason I am taking the Chiefs. I could be dead ass wrong, but I think the Eagles are a great team. Don't get me wrong, but for some reason, something in my heart is saying Patrick Mahomes is going to beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl, and I don't like saying that because I'm not a Chiefs fan, so I'm going Chiefs.
I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna go Eagles, but you kind of just swayed me. Like, no shit. Yeah, no shit. You kind of just swayed me to go Chiefs. As much as I hate the Chiefs, he does have the ability to do Tom Brady-like things, and Tom Brady can make it work with anyone, so he can make it work with anyone, plus with one of the greatest offensive minds in the entire history of the NFL, in Andy Reid. Yep. You know what? Fuck it, man. I'm going to go Chiefs. It's an uphill battle in my mind, though. I really do think that the Eagles are a better roster. I do think that they're a better team.
For sure. But they are across the board. They are a better team. The Eagles should win this game, but there was a team back in 2007 that was a better team. That was undefeated going into the playoffs, and then a far worse team who played their hearts out, who had a Hall of Fame quarterback, but not a Patrick Mahomes quarterback, and they beat the undefeated New England Patriots. That's the New York Giants, true. Ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me, I have to cough.
But yeah, You swayed me. You brought me on over to the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm going to go Chiefs. Jake's going to go Chiefs.
And
Yeah.
that's saying something because we're both not Chiefs fans. I mean, Dane is
no.
definitely not a Chiefs fan. There's no way, shape, or form that he's rooting for the Chiefs. I mean, this isn't saying we're rooting for the Chiefs. This is just how I think the game plays out. I'm not rooting for anybody. I'm just rooting for a good game. This is one of those Super Bowls where I'm just rooting for a good game. But I think Patrick Mahomes gets it done, man. And you think it's going to be a high-scoring game or a low-scoring game?
I do think it's going to be higher scoring.
High? What's your record or what's your score prediction?
I think it's going to be probably a 31-27 game. Chiefs.
Yeah. I think
both these defenses are going to make like really good plays, but I also think that like there's just going to be some switch that happens on the offensive side of the ball and they're both going to score.
You know, it's what this game's also making me think of.
What's up?
I think it's 2018 when the Patriots beat the Rams. You know, the Patriots. The Patriots had this older coach, you know, but he's a Hall of Fame coach. Andy Reid's a Hall of Fame coach. You know, he's been there for a while, and then they're going up against this unstoppable force in the Rams, who have this young, hot, up-and-coming coach who's the new, offensive guru. And how many points do the Rams put up in that Super Bowl?
3, right?
3 points. I don't know. It just kind of feels like that to me. I could be dead ass wrong, and
so you're going low scoring game.
I don't think low scoring because Andy Reid's not the defensive coordinator. You know, Steve Spagnuolo, he's a pretty decent defensive coordinator, but I think and that's what the Chiefs do. They do enough on defense to win games. They're not like shut down like the 49ers or the Eagles or the Cowboys, but they do enough in, you know, critical situations where they make a play happen. Yeah, I don't know. This just, man. Yeah, I'm still going Chiefs. It's going to be exciting. Oh, my goodness. All right. Yeah, I'm going to go high scoring too. I was thinking like, would you say 31-27?
31-27, that's what I got.
I was thinking 28 something, but is 28 3 points more than 20 is 31, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So 28-31?
Yeah, I'm going to do 31-28 Chiefs.
All right.
You heard it here, folks.
So we both got the Chiefs scoring 31. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But, you know,
I don't think they win by a touchdown, though. I think, and this is how I see it playing out, I think it's going to be a close game, back and forth, and then Patrick Mahomes is going to lead his iconic drive, and he's going to lead it down, and Harrison Butker kicks that field goal.
How great would it be if this game went to OT? But not just one OT. Not just 2 OTs. 3 OTs. Could you imagine?
Well, it'd actually be awesome because we haven't seen the new overtime rules yet. And imagine we get to see them in the Super Bowl, dude.
Hey, NFL, write the script.
Put it down.
Put it happen.
What was I? I was going to say something real quick. Refs. Please don't fuck this game up. This has the potential to be a classic Super Bowl. Don't fuck it up. We need the best officiating. And like, if the Chiefs win because of bad officiating, I'm going to be hella pissed. Like, I'm going to be hella pissed. And I know Eagles fans are going to be hella pissed. They're going to burn Philadelphia to the ground if that happens. So, yeah. Come on, refs. You got to pull it together, man. You have to pull it together.
Flag happy crew they could have ever gotten to ref or officiate a Super Bowl, but hey, who knows? Maybe they'll change their ways. Yeah, I mean, you guys know where I stand. I think I've said everything that I need to. Jake, did you have anything else that you wanted to add before we get out of here?
No, I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl. If you guys are drinking and, don't drink and drive, have fun, enjoy the Super Bowl, stay safe, have fun, man. Like, the Super Bowl should be a holiday because, you're hanging out with your friends, hanging out with your family, watching an awesome game, the game that me and Dane love. Obviously, we have a football podcast. And, just enjoy yourself and, try not to drink too much because you want to remember times like these. So that's what I'm learning now. So, that's all I got to say. Sorry for my little preachiness, but take us away, Dane.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's episode. You know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for listening to the Cannonballs podcast. It's kind of weird to think that we've officially done an entire season, first season in the books for the Cannonballs podcast. So I'm going to do a little hands to myself and Jake. We don't have that many followers or listeners yet, but hopefully over the seasons, hopefully this channel grows. Hopefully you guys will continue supporting us, sharing us, getting us out there. We'd love to keep doing content. We're going to do bonus content during the off season. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a mock draft. Maybe we'll be able to do a simulator, something like that. We'll get some off-season content. But yeah, that's all I got to say. Jay, do your thing, baby.
All right. Thank you for listening. Good luck to the Chiefs and the Eagles. Good luck to the refs. Don't mess this game up, please. Thank you for listening. And as always, peace.